Welcome to the Rent to Rent Success podcast, all about creating consistent cash flow, escaping the 9-to-5, and really living life on your terms. This is the only podcast entirely dedicated to helping you achieve rent to rent success. It's our place to inspire each other to believe bigger, to be bolder, and to be game changers for good. I'm Stephanie Taylor, your guide on this exciting ride. Let's start up the engines and get ready to fly. Hello, hello, hello. It's Stephanie here. Welcome to episode 39 of the Rent to Rent Success podcast. And today we are talking about HMOs and coronavirus. Is it true that no one wants to live in shared houses or HMOs anymore after Corona? Is it the end of the road for rent to rent and for HMOs? If you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome. And do go back to episode 1. Each episode builds on each other to give you that full view of rent to rent success. And if you're one of our longtime listeners, we love you. Thanks for joining us again today. Before I start today, I want to thank you for all the reviews that you've been leaving on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Today, let me highlight Sen's review. Thank you so much for this, Sen. This is what Sen said. A huge thank you and well done to Stephanie and Nicky for creating this podcast to help share real life learning and experiences from the rent to rent front line. They're so passionate and it's exciting to see this grow. Thank you so much, Sen. If you enjoy the podcast, we'd love if you could leave us a review. We super appreciate it, and it does help other people to find us too. And I may read out your review on the podcast as well. Let's dive into today. So, no one wants to live in shared houses or HMOs after Corona, and rent to rent is over. This seems like common sense. Now that more people have the option to work from home, it seems obvious that fewer people would want to live in HMOs. And after the lockdowns, it seems natural to assume that people won't want to share anymore. But it isn't true, because people do still continue to live in HMOs. And not only that, people are still choosing to continue to move in to HMOs. So why is that? Most of our housemates could easily afford, in our location, a 1-bed flat or studio. And they tell us that they prefer to share for these reasons: to meet people. Often people are moving to a new city for work and don't know anyone, and actually prefer to live with other like-minded people rather than to live alone. The second one is for affordability. Often people are saving to buy their own home, and they love the affordability of HMOs because they can save that much more every month. For convenience, they just love the ease of moving in, having everything already set up there for them. The furniture's there, the bills are included, and there's fast service if anything goes wrong. And they love the flexibility. Even after Corona, there are still people moving around the country with their roles, and it makes it easier for them just to be able to commit for 6 months rather than anything longer than that. And rather than having to set up a property and furnish it and set up utility bills and all of the things that go along with it, they can just move in and then move out and move on. So the demand has actually grown rather than diminished. And you'll have seen the episodes that I have had explaining that demand also grows within recessions. And if we're coming into a recession, which many commentators say that we are, that this is another stick to the fire, if you will, for the demand growing. There is that growing demand for beautiful, affordable shared homes. So make sure that you set up things in a way that you can take advantage of that. Oh, it's the next episode that I talk about what's happening in recessions. So listen in to the next one if you want to hear about that. And if you'd like to find out more about rent to rent and see if it's right for you, sign up for our free rent-to-rent success guide and masterclass, which you can watch straight away. It's at rent2rentsuccess.com/guide. That's rent2rentsuccess.com/guide. Until next time, have an amazing week. And remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the links for anything mentioned in today's episode, or if voice is not enough and you want to see us on video too, you can find all the show notes and lots more at rent2rentsuccess.com. That's rentsuccess.com. If you've enjoyed today's episode, we'd super appreciate it if you would take a few minutes to review it in your podcast app. Remember, we'll be donating to our B1G1 charities too for each review you give. Until then, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.